you're speaking live from Mexico City. You were there for the elections last night. Tell us, what are you seeing on the ground, and what is the mood of the electorate right now?
On the one hand, this was a landslide that most people saw coming. If you looked at the polls, Claudia Sheinbaum was holding a between 10 and 20, 25-point lead above her nearest rival for weeks. So this has been a campaign without a lot of suspense. Most people thought they knew where it was going. On the other hand, I would say that there was still enthusiasm. I went around several different neighborhoods in Mexico City yesterday, talking to voters, I think overall, their responses matched up pretty much with what we saw in the election. The fact that 60% of voters supported Claudia Sheinbaum to the next candidate's 30%. So it really was a landslide for the ruling party.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of Mexican politics, can you just give us a very brief overview of the structure of the Mexican government for those who might not be familiar with it? And is it structured similarly to the American government?
Somewhat similarly. It's also a presidential system. In Mexico's case, until now, with multiple political parties, not just two. So what you have here is a strong presidency. The president can hold office for 6 years and cannot be reelected after that. That's a very strong norm here in Mexico. So Claudia Sheinbaum will have 6 years ahead of her, and that's it. Now, in addition to the president, there's a Senate, a Congress, and also a Supreme Court, which for now is selected through a judicial process independently, but which Claudia Sheinbaum and her party have suggested should be actually selected through popular vote. So that is one proposal we may see put soon to Congress, is whether or not to reform the Constitution to elect Supreme Court judges and actually also elect the people who administer the entire judiciary. That change could make the system look quite unlike that of the United States and most other democracies.
A popular vote for the judiciary, that blows my American mind. But while we're on policy, Will, can you tell us what were the other policies that Sheinbaum ran on, and what was her strategy broadly going into this election?
Look, her biggest message was that she is here to continue the policies of the president who's held power for the last 6 years, a man named Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, sometimes called AMLO. AMLO is a nationalist populist. He started governing, began his political career as a governor in a very poor state of southern Mexico. Ran every political campaign against the political elites and what he perceived as kind of a wealthy few controlling the country. And eventually he won in 2018, also in a landslide. He became quite popular before and then as he held the presidency by hiking the minimum wage, by increasing social transfers and cash transfers to the poor, but also very controversial. He empowered the military. He was very harsh on defenders of the environment. So he combined views that we sometimes think of as right-wing and left-wing. Now, Sheinbaum has basically said that she's going to continue those policies. She's been by Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador's side for the past 24 years, excuse me, one of his closest political allies. However, Sheinbaum herself has a very different profile, which makes people think that maybe she has different ideas about where the country should go. She's a climate scientist. She comes from the student movement in Mexico, which is much more, let's say, traditional kind of leftists in the sense of caring deeply about human rights, considering themselves progressives, somewhat closer to the mold of those in the US. So we'll see. Sheinbaum may make, I think, important changes on energy policy, on fiscal policy, potentially on the environment. But I think no matter what she does, though, she will be trying to sustain this legacy of AMLO and appeal to that same base.